The one that I do get a lot question is buy or build, specifically in HVAC and plumbing. I still live by the motto of it's better to be in the game than not at all, as long as you're doing some risk mitigation. Yeah. That if you can just get in the game, you can change your life and win.
Which right now, interest rates is a thing on acquisitions. I'm not all geared up on deals.
Welcome back to Owned and Operated. What's going on, John?
Go.
Let's do it.
Should we do a standing podcast?
I move around way too much for a standing podcast. Just so much room for activities in this room, too.
Yeah, there is.
All of Jacquisitions is done standing.
Really?
Yeah, I have a standing desk, and I stand behind and do that. Just because I can't sit that long.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for today's episode.
Okay.
So this is a question that I get all the time.
From who?
Random
Just
people.
Like random DMs?
Yeah, random DMs. A lot of times.
Much more.
I'm the people's champ, John.
I actually think that's right.
40 million means something to me. I'm going to get a t-shirt. John M. T-shirts, 40 million ain't shit.
I would wear that as a hat, actually.
Honestly, I might come up with something. I'm going to pay a graphic designer to come up with something cool for that.
Yeah, no, I'd wear that.
I was looking for something like, did you come up with that closer tee?
No.
Someone else did that.
Yeah.
Because I like that tee. I was like, man, that's kind of
it's
fresh.
It's so good. I've got a hat. He got me socks. It was awesome. I won't say it's branded. It's got to come on the show for that to be a thing.
Yeah.
No.
But point being is that swag was legit. I was like, dude, coffees for closers already taken. Like that, everybody knows that one.
Oh, I have that cup.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm just saying, like, some cool
40 mil ain't shit.
Owned and operated swag that has some.
And I'm not at 40 because they're all
neither of us.
Yeah. But it ain't shit.
It ain't shit. When you get there, maybe it will be, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Let me know.
I'll let you know literally in about 12 months.
There you go. It's no secret that my office here in Nashville is almost completely empty. So how do I support my team as well as have great growth metrics? Well, the answer is international contractors with Quick Staffers. So Quick Staffers is a premier staffing agency which will place top-tier talent in your business, built by the trades for the trades. So if you need a CSR, they'll be placing a CSR that is highly trained in your business that knows ServiceTitan and can book calls effectively day one, call one. Affordable, reliable, and trained in all of the industry best practices, Quick Staffers can help you cut that overhead, boost conversions, and scale your business fast. So don't waste another lead. Visit quickstaffers.com and transform your business today. But the one that I do get a lot question is buy or build, specifically in HVAC and plumbing. It's like, hey, it's either, and I want to kind of put this category together, even though I definitely have some thoughts on it. I even say like buying really, really small, like a 1-man or 2-man shop. I'm just going to put that with the build side.
Okay.
Build side, because starting up a company from zero and buying a 2-man shop, same thing.
Yeah.
Almost the same thing. Yeah. Unless there's some really extenuating circumstances. So I bought that size of a business. And the only thing I'll say that the benefit of that was that my phone was ringing day one. But the reason I bought that business was because it was the only HVAC company in a suburb.
Yeah.
So we had complete market domination. The guy wasn't running the business well at all. And he just happened to dumb luck fall into doing a few right things. But for most companies, I think it's built.
I'm gonna toss you a quote.
Okay.
You ready? Well, LeBron action there.
Football catch.
When assets are expensive, but build assets.
Mm-hmm. So
that's not my quote. Stole from somebody else. But if shit's expensive, which right now interest rates is a thing on acquisitions, I'm not all geared up on deals right now. I think that's also I don't want the hassle. So, I'm coming at this conversation from a deal sounds really annoying. I'm going to spend a lot of time fucking around, maybe find a deal that's still a piece of shit probably.
Yeah.
And I have to fix it and make it a real business versus I can take less money and just go launch one. So I think my perspective is not great because I would bias towards build, but I also probably have more resources and know-how than the average human being about to launch a plumbing company.
And that's the hard part, is because I still live by the motto of it's better to be in the game than not at all, as long as you're as long as you're doing some risk mitigation, because I think there's enough opportunity on the whole that if you can just get in the game, you can change your life and win. There's few instances where it's not, and then those are the terrible stories that we never hear. But that's like the mitigation there is like, don't buy construction. Don't buy construction.
Yeah, literally stop.
No.
You need to stop. Those are the only DMs I get.
Yeah.
You get all like the, hey man, love you. You're really cool.
Well,
you're one of the people. 40 million is shit to you. And I get the, hey man, so I'm gonna buy a new construction, and I'm like, dude, just stop. Let's stop.
Yeah, most of mine though, it's somebody who's picking up like a 4-man plumbing shop, and they're service only, and I'm like, yeah, let's look at the numbers and then go through the deal with them and see if it's good or it's bad or whatever. But like, that's the vast majority of what I'm getting. So I have like 2 calls this week for 2 different. One is a franchise.
It might also be because I don't look at my DMs.
Could be that. John opens up his DMs like, well, there they all are.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But like in my defense, everyone's either trying to sell me like an AI automation, or like some guy keeps pinging me on LinkedIn. This one I do open because it's just like, it's happened enough that I'm like, what's this guy about? He's trying to sell me steel, like fucking I-beams.
Yes.
I'm like, what?
Yes.
What am I gonna do with this?
My favorite is when I get the DMs that are, hi John. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not, instant block.
Oh, that's dagger to the heart. Wrong one, you piece of shit.
But point is like, I do believe that you're right. I think that both of our ideas here are actually not mutually exclusive, in the sense that when you actually own a business, buying a business can be more distracting and can cause more things to break and cause more things to be messed up. So it's easier to take the cash flow you have and invest it in growth initiatives versus investing in a business that's going to break your systems. It's going to ruin your life for 6 months. The CEO that you hire in that business is going to quit, and then you have to go and run it. Like all of the
Well, are we talking about this as a new entrepreneur, or like adding more shit to your existing business? Because
no. I'm saying that, like you mentioned, like, hey, it just sounds like a lot. But when you're new getting in, it sounds like a lot, but that's kind of the point, right? When you're new and you're full of piss and vinegar from your W-2 and you just want to own it yourself. Like, I remember the days when that like, I woke up and I was like, I'm ready to deal with the shitstorm. Like, I have to run calls on the weekend. Who cares? It's all building for me. And now it's a little different just because now I have systems in place that I don't run weekend work. So if I have to run weekend work, it's like, why? So that's what I mean is I think there's an expectation at the beginning of dealing with the craziness that comes with buying a business, versus your perspective now is like, buying a business sounds like a headache, because it is.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest headache is cultural, which I think you're going to have that in my, like if I did it or you did it as a new entrepreneur, like it is cultural. Like in the business you bought, the guy quit. Rich's business, the guy quit. So like that's cultural. That's a cultural problem. And that's what sounds like a pain in the balls to me. So I would rather, I'll start this a different way, because it's almost all people. Like my tolerance for bullshit is so fucking low at this point. Like I gotta very low tolerance for bullshit, like in basically any part of my life.
Yeah.
So if I have to deal with something that's like very clearly bullshit, like it'll just stop. Like, right there. That is it. No time.
Yeah.
So like if I walked into an acquisition, it was a 4-person, and I started to like sense bullshit, we would fire the whole team immediately. Like I just don't have the patience for him. So building is attractive because you can pick the team you work with. And that I emphasize a lot, because I want to pick the humans. I want to make sure we get along. I want to not have a cultural issue that's annoying. I want to like provide a good thing.
So you're 100% right, because that's where I was going with it. Is my general advice when I go through this, and I said on Acquisitions Anonymous, is I said I would pick build over buy for my personality, and or buy versus build for my personality, because I'm operationally minded. I can run calls if I need to. I can do operations if I need to. I can do marketing a little bit if I need to. I can run the entire business myself. That being said, there's different individuals with different characteristics, right? So a lot of times what we see, or what I see, is the people who are trying to build actually don't have a background as a technician, or don't have a background as somebody who can be technical. And so what they do is then they're great at marketing. They're the amazing marketer, they're SEO geniuses, whatever the case may be. And they partner up with someone who's supposed to be their operational partner. And that person is just terrible. 9 times out of 10, they fail because it's a bad partnership, and they feel stuck because you can't fire that person because you're not able to do the technical side. So how do you bring in somebody fast enough who's willing to take that risk with you on the technical build side? And so it's really difficult versus what we see a lot, and what actually works a lot in the early stages of the build is like, hey, I'm a technician. I'm going out on my own. I'm getting kicked in the face from a business running a business point of view. Like, oh, what's insurance? Psh, what's workers' comp? Psh, why do I have to do this, this, and this? HR violations? What are you talking about? But at least they can run the labor portion of the business. Now they just have to figure out how to get those jobs. And so it's this weird, like, which personality type are you? What is your skill set?
Yeah.
Because I think this person can easily, and for people listening, the person who's the technician can get to that 1 million mark, right? Because they can do it by themselves, maybe with one other helper.
Yeah.
But the person who is marketing oriented can't, because they can't run the call. And if that person sucks that they're partnering with, they are in a bad spot. Does that make sense?
I think it does. I think you should zoom out a little bit. So if I launched, I corporate spoke, didn't I?
Zoom out?
Yeah.
I think that's accurate. That's not corporate speak. It's corporate speak.
Damn
We're
it.
being told it's corporate speak.
Damn it.
I thought you were the fun guy. So what's
Thought
the
I was
correct
too.
term?
Thought I was too. But apparently I'm
Jack, you're too close to the situation.
my ankles are out. How corporate could I be? Like literally both ankles.
So much ankle, so little time.
Yeah. All right. So I think you got to zoom out.
Okay.
And
Need to hear it.
if I was launching, and I think this is what people should be aiming at. Obviously, I've been in this trade my whole life, so like a little bit different, but I think you can shortcut it a little bit. If I was launching a new plumbing business, in like this is what we're actively talking about. So like new location. We're kind of leaning towards build because it sounds much easier than buy. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that we've been big fans of Service Scalers. One of the things that they just dropped that we are really excited about is a pay-per-lead program. So what they help you do is they help you directly gain access to leads and scale up your lead partner program. Go to servicescalers.com and say we sent you. So I think it would succeed it would succeed for a number of reasons, none of them having to do with me personally running the water heater calls. So I think yes, the marketing is important, but the way I thought about this before, this was like 10 years ago, I was explaining to my dad, I was in the field, I was a plumber at the time, and I wanted to transition my role to the office, which was a big deal because there was like 6 total people in the company. So like one more person of overhead
It's
a lot, and I didn't appreciate that as much as I do now, but like that was a big deal. And I can understand like his hesitation. And I remember at that time, I'm sure I was reading some book, but I was like a 23-year-old punk. And I was reciting to him, a man that had run a business for 40 years more than I had, like the different stages of a business and why they mattered. And it's fun to look at yourself 10 years later. Jack.
Your dad who's a 40-year veteran.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you my son, where did I go wrong?
I know. So, but like a business is like 8 things.
Yeah.
And only one of them is the thing that we do. So out of the 8 things that a new plumbing company would need, maybe only one of those is actually plumbing. And the other 8 is like, what's hiring like? What's leads like? What's sales like?
Yeah, but in
What's
the
install?
build, I agree with you. But like in the build phase, when you're 0 to 100,000, none of that, like hiring doesn't matter.
Got to hire your first couple techs.
You do have to hire your first couple techs, but if you don't have cash flow coming in, how do you hire your first couple techs?
Yeah, I think we should have specified how much resources we're starting
Yeah,
with.
because so I think like the average person that's starting, right?
You're getting the DMs, not me.
If you say, I mean, if you say I'm going to go out and buy $1 million business, SBA is going to say what, 10% down, so that's 100,000. So you say 100,000 to buy a business, that's $1 million.
Yeah.
Or 100,000 to start a business, like the startup cost on a plumbing business alone, and then you have to take into a factor, okay, who the build profile is, right? Because the other side to it is, yes, you're right, like there's a decent portion that are other things, but licensure and who's like, are you a plumber or are you not a plumber? That's, I think, the first place to start. Because if you are a plumber, great, you can go get the license, and then I think you're 100% right. Like I say, if you are in that trade or you at least have enough experience in a very, very similar trade, like facilities maintenance, but even there, I'd be very wary. But something of the sort, then like, yeah, you're there, you go hire a marketing team, you go hire, resources to go hire these couple teams. But if you are an MBA right out of Wharton and you need to start, you have your 100K, you want to go start a business, the first thing you have to do is find somebody who's going to hold that license for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then even if that person is holding the license but doesn't want to run plumbing calls, now you have to go find and hire your first person. Meanwhile, your cash expenditure is just dwindling, right? So my thing is, like, who are you? What's your skill set? And making sure that, and this actually applies to buying too. Like when you're buying, if your skill set is lending you to be more operational, you can buy a smaller company like I did. Like I'm not going to say stay away from a $1.5 million company, but if your skill set is marketing, stay away. Your skill set is finance, needs to be 2 to 3 million, because like we talked about on another podcast, CFO doesn't matter until you're 10, 15 million. So like what as a CFO position are you going to do at a $3 million HVAC company? The answer is really little, like very little strategy, because you're fighting fires.
Yeah, there's nothing to be strategic about.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what my wonder is I don't know if there's an answer to this. I think the answer is like, what's your skill set?
And resources.
Yeah. So in your example,
because I think 100,000.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And
it's
just
kinda
let's play
low.
this out.
I guess like what I struggle with and have for years. I don't. My perspective.
Yeah.
I bought a business because the trade was different.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be the way that you made the most money 10 years ago was you launched a business. That's not really the way it works anymore. And I don't really understand I don't understand why people in today's environment are launching businesses when as a technician you can go make 200 plus.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. Do you have any I know but it's going to take someone years to replicate that income owning their own business. That's not like, oh yeah, I got there immediately. No, that's like 5 years. Yeah. So you're going to lose $1 million of take home income that you would have made W-2 for basically pride.
And lots of headaches.
And it's it's insane. So your example
I know what the answer is.
Your example was 100,000, and I was like, why would anyone, in my scenario, if that's the resources you're starting with, you should not start a business. I think that you can, if you're a plumber here at Wilson, or electrician, or HVAC, sales, install, you can make 100, you can make 150, you can make 200, you can make up to $300,000. We have guys clearing that. Why would you ever?
I'll tell you.
Take all the risk.
I'll tell you.
For jack shit reward.
So, I mean, as someone who did that, I'll tell you the reason.
Because it doesn't make sense.
We were bringing home on a W-2, I'm more than forthright with this. We were bringing home over 250,000. We were in California, so that means a lot less.
Yeah. So that's
especially
minimum wage.
in Napa. Like I was troubling getting gas, but point being is like we were making good six figures at 28 years old, 27 years old. Like you're right, there is a path where this individual, you could go work that W-2, you could go save a percentage of that into the S&P 500 every year, and you can be a millionaire by 50, 55, right? That time horizon gives you enough time with proper investment to actually be really wealthy by the time you're in your 50s, right? The reason that you take the moonshot is because you're trying to speed up that time horizon, right? There is a real case for a lot of people. I shouldn't say a lot of people, excuse me. Should rephrase this and be very careful. There is a real shot where there's a reality in somebody buying a $1 million business, top line business, so 200,000 in EBITDA business, and then in 5 years selling that for 10 million or 15 million.
What percent chance?
There's a more percent chance than it working at a W-2. So if it's 10, 15, 20%, your risk appetite.
You think that's 10%? You think there's a 10% chance?
I mean, I think that
I think there's like a 0.01.
I mean, my time horizon on
Just like pull up the chart of like size of businesses. It's like 0.01. Is like we can
Okay,
the data. We can find the data.
Let's
I'm
redo
like, bro,
this.
there's no fucking chance.
If you bought a $2 million business and you doubled it every year for 5 years,
Who's got the skill set to do that?
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm an amazing operator. I think that I put myself in a position where I can talk to, I don't even want to inflate your head here, but I could talk to mediocrely good other operators, go on podcasts with them.
I know a guy in Ohio.
and argue with them about why I'm right and why he's wrong, and then somehow that makes me a better human.
It's great. Seems to work.
So far. But point being is like, I think whatever that percentage, a 1% chance, there is a moonshot chance. And I think it happens and we hear about it more, right? We get the survivor bias on this as well. So like, don't get me wrong. There's huge survivor bias of people who actually win and who actually do well. That's the people we hear of. We hear of the Tommy Mellos, the Wilsons, the rapid responses.
See, I'm going to insert myself here because with Tommy also had an incredible team that did get rich at his time of exit.
That's true.
So I think that like that's
pathway.
my argument here.
Yeah.
Is I don't think that you should ever just like go work for some random fucking company.
Yeah.
I think as a tech, as a leader, you can be an entrepreneur within an organization with none of the risk.
Yeah.
Like when eventually our business will transact.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, a lot of people are going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And like, that's a much higher chance of success with like zero risk than
the risk is
buying
different,
something and starting
right? So
something.
the risk is like, it's not personal risk in the sense that, but there is time risk. There's opportunity risk. It's
Career risk.
the
maybe.
sense that, right, I'm owning my own journey.
Yeah.
In this sense, all those people that have worked with you since you were a $2 million plumbing co who are still here, like they took huge chances to work with John Wilson rather than
Yes.
Joe Schmo, who's still $3 million.
Right.
Right. So, and do you want to talk about percentages out of every business that you could work at that you would actually go from 2 million to 40 million in 8 years? Like very, very few companies do that. Agreed?
That was my argument 2 minutes.
It was your argument 2 minutes ago. And so to tie yourself to that business and to say, put in 2, 3, 4, or 5 years of time to then it stall out or to never sell or to never get the opportunity to
But
make money
as
through
a
it.
technician, the ones that are likely to launch their own.
Mhm.
So my example was for leaders.
Yeah.
So, for leaders, like we're working on a mechanism where our senior leaders are rewarded at the time of whatever we want to go raise and go keep growing. So, and we want our leaders to win, like at that point and then beyond. But for techs, you can just make 200 grand. Like 200 grand is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's more money than most owners make for the first 10 years of their business. And it's risk-free and you can make
Agreed.
it almost anywhere.
Yeah.
So I really struggle.
So
we
I
had
agree.
one person leave last year and I love him. He's awesome. And I still don't understand the math because he was earning a lot.
Yeah. The math is that he's really good at it. He thinks he can go out and do it himself and succeed. and then in 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, whatever your time horizon is, that's less than the W-2 path that you can sell for $10 million, right? You make $10 million. Honestly, most people, if they're making $4, $5, $6 million, right?
I think it's much more likely it sells for one.
If way more likely it sells for under one.
I think that's the issue I have with this. Like, we can launch it, we'll sell for 10 million. Like, probably not. I mean, you might be able to build something that could sell for $1 million or like maybe $2, but
so to sell
for $1 million is $300,000 of net at a 3 times. Yeah. That's a good multiple, and it's going to take them a decade to get there.
Yeah. Well, maybe not if he listens to Owned and Operated podcast. Tune in every Friday.
OwnedandOperated.com.
But yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I think that it's a risk profile thing, and somebody who is trusting in themselves goes and takes that risk and buys something that they think that they can flip at 100,000.
Well, and my argument is, if 100,000 is the pool of funds you're working with, you need to go back to work. Like,
ouch.
Figure out a better pool of resources, because you have a real risk of bankruptcy there that is just unnecessary.
I don't disagree with that.
And like, if you went and worked with, again, if I, John, am launching a plumbing company in Columbus tomorrow, non-Wilson, like, Jack's Plumbing, it would win.
Yeah.
And because I know how to hire techs, I know how to drive leads. Yep. We know how to run a plumbing company. So go figure out how to run a plumbing company. Like, go work with one for a couple of years, make a ton of money doing it, then maybe figure it out with like $300,000 at your disposal.
Yeah. Save up a little bit more.
Yeah. Definitely. I feel like 100 is like literally too small of a number.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not desperate. So maybe if someone's feeling emotionally desperate, it would be a different math.
I don't disagree with anything that I think either of us has said. I just think that the point of why and where and when is kind of not me justifying it, but me just explaining why I think that behind the reasoning is that there's this moonshot. At least maybe I'm just speaking from my personal experiences. Like, that's my way for generational wealth, and I can hit it by the time I'm 40. Like, I don't have to wait till 50. I don't have to wait till 55. I don't have to wait till 65 to retire. Like, I will have my retirement where I can pull $250,000 a year at my 4% or whatever the FIRE people do. And like, I don't put any money into retirement accounts. Like, all my money goes back into investing in the business. And so I burn the ships. John, you're going to love this. I put $90K into my business. So not even 100, 90. So you can too if you follow Owned and Operated. But the reason at the end, and I said this on Acquiring Minds, the reason it wasn't Acquisition Anonymous, it was Acquiring Minds. Wrong podcast. Sorry, Will Smith, earlier mess up. But the reason that I did it and why I keep coming back to this, like, who you are as a person, is when I came out and bought the business, I was not a marketing guy. Like, I didn't know the first thing about SEO or PPC.
The first 5 years of my career,
I didn't know anything.
I said the same thing. And we could probably find podcasts where I'm like, I don't know anything about marketing. And now I feel like I'm like pretty good.
I feel like I'm better than the average even agency at some point.
You have to be.
And that's the thing, and it's crazy. But the reason that I'm happy was because I didn't know marketing. I bought the business. Everybody quit on me, but I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to go run calls. Ran calls, made it work because that was my background.
Yeah.
And marketing, the phone just kept ringing. The phone kept ringing. People kept calling to getting work. Like, naturally, that suited my skill set really well. And then after I was able to like get away from this and hire, I can then go figure out this. Yep. But if I didn't have this and I built, and then all of a sudden everybody quit on me when I built, like, phone's not ringing and I'm not really learning or running calls. So now I'm just screwed.
Yeah.
Going to zero.
If your books say you're making a lot of money, but there's nothing in the checking account, let's talk about CFO Made Easy. Most home service businesses hit a point where the money's coming in, but it's still unclear where it's all going. You've got a bookkeeper logging the past and a CPA filing your taxes, but no one helping you plan the future. And that's where CFO Made Easy comes in. They provide part-time CFO services specifically for trades and home service businesses. HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, you name it. They help you improve cash flow, maximize profit per tech, and make growth decisions with confidence. If you're tired of winging it financially and you want to see that bank balance grow, schedule a free financial insight session at cfomadeeasy.com or click the link below. We'll uncover what's holding you back and lay out a path forward. No fluff, no corporate finance speak. CFOmadeeasy.com. It's time to grow with clarity.
Yeah, that's where my kind of thinking is. In 2025, I will say that interest rates suck.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
definitely.
I mean, aren't SBA loans like 10% right now?
10%.
Yeah, fuck.
I think I'm at like 9.
And on top of that, like the market is still, this market is still hot.
Super hot.
Yeah, it will be interesting. We have not been looking at all. Like, I'm not even really trying to look for deals. It will be interesting to see in the next like 2 years. I feel like it's hitting fever pitch, right? Like it's got to slow down. On the one hand, we don't want it to.
I was just saying, on the one hand, I actually
value's
don't want it
high,
to.
but yeah.
I don't think it's going to slow down. And the reason why is the comment we made about everybody's job is going to be a plumber in 3 years. Because as AI eats up different jobs, the ones that are safe and the safe investments are hands-on. That's my thinking. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope not. I don't want everybody to lose their jobs and become plumbers, but it makes labor market easier for us.
Yeah. What I think is, I think it reminds me a bit of like Gold Rush,
Airbnb Rush, or Bitcoin Saga 2016.
Yeah.
Or
so we have
meme coins.
Well, it's like, in what position do you want to take?
Yeah.
Because you and I are in an interesting position, I think, because we are actively digging for gold. We're prospectors, but we're also like, we run the trains that get the shovels to the prospectors. So people sponsor the show, they sell the shovels, we're running those trains. So I feel like it's just an interesting spot to be, because we're sort of like, as the market continues to grow and as more people are like, oh my gosh, you can get rich being a plumber and like all this other stuff, it's kind of interesting.
Definitely. But in this market today, you would lean towards build, but knowing, is that correct assumption?
Yeah. I think 10% interest is too much.
Yeah.
I think that all the companies that are attractive enough would be overbid. Mm-hmm. Like, there are dog shit companies that I've bid on that are going for like 6 times.
Yep.
And I'm like, you should have gone for a 2. And like, I'm really grateful that I get to compete against the PE that bought them, because like, I know it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
It is currently easy. It's great. We just got like 5 guys from them. So we get, I think it's easy because, or avoid it. Interest rates are high, multiples are still high, and you can't control the culture. I think obviously I feel this is my perspective now.
Yeah.
I clearly felt different years ago when we were buying, but I just have such a low tolerance for like cultural mismatch that if we came in, it would probably be a clear house, which like 3 years ago, I would have never thought that I would say that, because it was like, that's not us or me or whatever. And it's like, no, I would.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. Just because it's like, I don't want to deal with, like, why have 6 months of headaches when you can just have an hour of headaches?
Mm-hmm. Well, and the reason on the smaller companies too that they're trading is because the owners are tired because of the bullshit. And so the bullshit is caused by them mismanaging companies, not running it correctly, letting the techs run all over them, let the techs not sell. And so someone comes in and it's like, hey, you got quotas to meet. You got to generate revenue. Good luck.
Yeah.
And
You're like, revenue?
I have to, wait, I don't generate
I've never heard of her.
What? I don't generate revenue. I just fix things. It's like, yeah, but you got to offer things too. No. I just go in there and fix things. Not my style to offer people things they don't need. It's like, no. They just don't know about them.
Yeah.
You don't have to slam.
Yeah,
it's a whole sales thing.
It's funny.
Oh, it kills me.
It's funny. I read this was on like Reddit maybe a year ago. And someone was a cashier at a coffee shop, like a local community coffee shop. And I think she made $8, $10 an hour, I don't know. And like the business did like $200 of coffee shop sales that day. And she made like $120 or something like that. And she like sent a picture of the cashier. It was like $200 for the day. She's like, well, I'm going to go ask for a raise. Like they got $200 today. Like, I did that. And it was like, she got thankfully corrected because it was such a ridiculous, like, yeah, what about the rent? What about the coffee? What about the benefits? What about like literally anything? But it was comical. And I feel like it is tough. That is part of the problem with, like, I think trade schools don't do a good job of explaining that, because we get a lot of like these young kids that just, they don't yet understand, hey, yeah, fixing stuff is important, but you do have to literally cover your wage.
Yeah.
Like we have people astonished when we say that, hey, you have to make more revenue than your wage. And they're like, how on earth could I ever that doesn't even make sense. I covered my wage. I'm good. And I'm like, what about the gas that got you there? They're like, why do you pay for that? I'm like, how do I pay for that? They're like, from the revenue I bring out. I'm like, that just covered your wage. So yeah, you sort of get there, but some people you just never do.
Never do. Yeah. And so
anyways, I'd rather not deal with that bullshit. And, yeah, I'm pretty good on it. Maybe like 3 years ago, I would have like taken on proving that 1 + 1 = 2. But today I find it easier to just say, you're right. Arco's hiring.
Yep.
Let's delete that name.
Cut. I think I'm still in the buy category, even with the high interest rates. If you can get a deal that makes sense, not crazy.
Yeah.
I still think it's more important to get in the game and more important to have the phones ringing day one than anything else, just because that climb of trying to grow from that 0 to 1 million mark is so brutal. Excuse me, I should rephrase that. It's extremely brutal for people who've never done it.
Yeah.
That 0 to 1, like
and
learning.
That's why I feel like you should work alongside someone that does, because the groups that I'm in,
that's true.
The friends that I have that are actively launching, like I'm coming from the perspective of, hey, I have like 10 friends actively launching like locations in places that they don't have a brand. So it's not like they're getting to make use of the brand. They do have systems, they have but they understand how to do it. And for all of them, 3 to 5 million in the first year is the expectation. Like if we launched, it'd be 3 to 5 million in the first year would be our target. Like our rough estimate so far is 200,000 in the first month. And it's not that much resources. It's just we know how to do it.
You know how to, and that's the crazy part is right. The switch for me too, to try and learn that that marketing does not equal lead gen, took me a solid minute to understand, like, oh, marketing actually, like this person's a marketer, doesn't mean anything. 0% if they don't understand local service lead gen, because it's a subsect of the business that it's its own thing and doesn't touch anywhere in the marketing. I had people who come out of marketing college and they're like, hey, I got a marketing degree, It's like talking about them about lead gen, zero idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Like they know what SEO is, but what's the strategy to get you to number one SEO? People who are the best at that are the people who've just been doing it.
Yeah.
And so I still say buy, because if you can get a good brand that has some level of trust, you can retain most of the customers on your first buy.
Yep.
You can spend still that 10%, even though it's a high interest rate, still pretty juicy. 5% if you have the owner do a full hold. So you can get in with a lot of leverage. There's high risk though. High risk, but if you believe in yourself, you burn the boats. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. And I say,
listen, own and operate it.
Go work in a business and build. This, good debate. If you like what you heard, make sure you like it. If you like Jack's mustache, make sure you sub and check out ownedandoperated.com for information on the workshop in August.